all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman.
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Roo.
Welcome to Couch in the Roo, presented by Skyman Premium Cannabis, inspiring people to do better, be better, live better, and feel better every day of their lives. And our Wednesday show, presented by our friends at Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar, just north of Frandor on East Saginaw and Lansing. Had a wonderful evening out there with the members of a co-ed soccer team I play with on Monday nights. And just a great vibe. We sat on the patio. Really underrated patio, chill place, great beer selection, good food, awesome place. I think you guys all know that about how we feel about Front 43 and Cask & Company. How you doing, man?
What's up, Graham? I know that Graham is busy for the simple fact that there is a cooler of Melting Moments ice cream sandwiches, and he just ran by them to get to the studio today. So
I am very excited about these Melting Moments ice cream sandwiches, which are back at Spartan Stadium, by the way, after 7 years away. I mean, this is incredible news. It's I've done the math on the calories. It's so worth it.
Don't look.
No, it's not bad at all. Like there are even like the healthy. If you go to a restaurant and they have a healthy menu where everything's under 650 calories, that's all that ice cream is. Just have that for dinner. It's so much better than your dinner.
Yep.
Why wouldn't you want Melting Moments? I know a lot of people feel the same. They have a great relationship with Melting Moments, and
yeah, they don't need a sales pitch.
No. If
They
you've
sell
had it,
themselves.
you've had it. I mean,
Screw dinner.
I remember going to MSU games when it was like 3 degrees out, and I'd still be at halftime. Like I somehow got to get this ice cream to thaw so I can eat it, and that's just the way it is.
Raccoon Graham.
Raccoon Graham. So we've got an interesting show, and if you're a live listener, this is way late in the day. The Alan Haller becoming Michigan State's AD, that Board of Trustees meeting, the column I had to write kind of threw things into a tizzy. But we're going to do a podcast here that I think is going to be fun. We're going to have a conversation with a writer who covers Northwestern here in a few minutes and get into what he thinks of the Wildcats and their chances and trying to get a sense of this game a little more. Then we're going to have Harry Gagnon on and get into our picks for this week. And we'll post those and we'll start our picks challenge. Where this is, what brought Eric Schultz to fame, keeping track of these for us a few years ago.
That's why he's first. Twitter Question Friday.
And we've got 6 college football games. We'll give our picks. We'll do our can't-miss parlays as well. I wish the Premier League was still playing this week. It's international week off. But we'll get into those, and I'll tweet those out. And, it's going to be a great deal of fun.
So we're still doing parlays then.
We're still doing
and
parlays.
Our picks.
And
all
our
right.
picks. A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. I'm in.
I probably should have told that to you ahead of time.
No worries.
The big news today is, there are a couple things that are happening. One, we haven't talked since Mel Tucker's press conference, and he said that he was unaware, or shouldn't say that, he wasn't going to reveal who the starting quarterback was.
Nice.
The quarterbacks were aware. Right, that's what I meant
So
to say.
someone knows who the starting quarterback is going to be.
I will be very surprised, very, very surprised if it's not Peyton Thorne. Put it this way. I do not have a source in the program close enough for me to say it's Peyton Thorne and write it and be 100% sure and bet my mother's house on it. And, it's also, but there are people peripherally around the program. The sense of it is that it's Peyton Thorne, to the point that I would be unbelievably surprised. And when I wrote my 5 factors in prediction today, the first one was really about Peyton Thorne in this start. Like it's going to be Peyton Thorne.
Okay.
And
is that breaking news?
If it's not, then Mel Tucker is really good at this. Mel Tucker is really good at tricking people and sort of sending out the wrong messaging out there. And maybe he is. This is the first time we've dealt with him on this sort of thing. He's, I get why he doesn't want to reveal it. Because if you're coaching against a team in the opener, as he said, there are so many unknowns. Why not add one more? A week from now, the team is going to know who the quarterback is. They got one person to prepare for. They're going to know who your running back is. They're going to know much more about what you run. You're playing a Big Ten opponent in week 1. Why wouldn't you want to have as little about you understood as possible, making the scout more difficult, making, it just a lot to prepare for. And ultimately,
is it a lot to prepare for, though, or is it just overblown?
Some of it's overblown. Ultimately, it comes down to usually athletes, and there's a coaching and prepared element, but ultimately it's teams that can – the problem for Michigan State is this, and I think it's ultimately the problem for a team like Northwestern. There are teams out there that can just do what they do. They can do themselves, and that's going to beat most opponents. And the scout is really – I mean, you want to know some things, but it's not that important. They got better players. Michigan State and Northwestern are not in that situation. I do think there are little things that can matter in this, and being ready for all sorts of options. But you also can't overfill kids' heads with scouting reports and make things too complex. I've seen that fail places. I've seen when you do not want your free safety overthinking things. It's just not something you want. You don't want, and so you lay out tendencies, and when you figure out who the quarterback is, if you're Northwestern, you say, okay, this is, we'll this is what we want to do. I really like Michigan State in this game. I do more and more, and we're going to talk to Louie Vaccher is his name, and who covers Northwestern football here in a few minutes, and we'll figure out if he feels the same. Before we do that, quickly, Alan Haller is the new Michigan State athletic director, and we'll probably spend some more time on this during Twitter questions. And if we had I don't know, it's a screwy showtime. Like most people, this is one of the challenges of what we do, sort of a set time. Most people wouldn't squeeze in a podcast right after this without a little more prep time. But I do think, I don't know what he'll be as an athletic director. I think he was a really good candidate, though, and I think it's a smart hire. And I think you have to give MSU credit for letting the interview do the work and giving Haller that shot. From everything I've heard, he absolutely crushed it in the interview process, and that's what separated him.
He's an impressive guy.
He is an impressive guy, and he's homegrown, which is cool. And it means a lot to people here, and that's cool too. I mean, he went to Dwight Rich Middle School, Sexton High School, then went to Michigan State. He's been a cop on the overnight shift. He's worked his way. It's an interesting path. It means a lot to a lot of people. Now, all of that, and he's one of, I think, 6 black athletic director, head coach combinations in FBS football. It's not a lot. I mean, there's some significance. There's a lot of, and I do think he has a clear vision of what he wants to do, and he says he's impressive when you listen to him. All of that gets him through next week's press conference. That's about it. Then the real world of trying to make non-rev sports feel as important as you say they are and drive the engine that is a major college football program as well. And it's a big job. It's a big job with a lot of moving parts and a lot of people, and you have to get it going in the same direction, and we'll see if he can do it. But
my question is, the Board of Trustees, a couple of them before they voted, they voiced their displeasure of not being transparent, Michigan State, that is, about the hire.
Yeah.
Did you read into that at all? Or?
No, the problem I have with that is it's a naive take. You can't name sitting athletic directors as part of a process. There has to be confidentiality in that.
Right.
You're not going to get good people right before football season, because if the athletic director at Auburn or wherever it says, if their people know they're looking to leave, they're cooked. You know what I mean? It's a naive thing. Now, I'm not saying that her concerns over the university's transparency and other things weren't baked into this, and that's why. But it was a naive approach.
I just didn't know what that meant, because did they not get a text on every angle that Michigan State was looking at? I mean, or was it just, were they left out in the dark completely? I don't know. But it was the hire that everybody expected anyway.
No question.
So why get a search firm?
Well, no, because that gives legitimacy to the hire. To me, the fact that it was a great, a legitimate national search, and they talked to other people and had feelers out and some big name candidates and sitting Division I athletic directors, that gives validity to Alan Haller. If you just hire within, you're settling. You made him beat other people out. I think that's important. I think that's incredibly important. It is a
gig.
It's a great gig.
What a gig!
It is a great gig, and it's cool. It's cool. He's from Lansing. I mean, I'm a Lansing kid, right? So I enjoy that, and I've talked to a lot of people in the last couple of weeks about how meaningful it is. Again, that gets you so far. Is he going to be a great AD? I don't know. And it's a big job, and but he gets a shot at it. And I think all you can do is make a smart hire with a good candidate, and Michigan State has done that. If it doesn't work, it's the Scott Frost thing. That was a good hire, good candidate. Hasn't worked. Sometimes it really works, and so
and it is a 5-year deal, correct?
5-year deal.
Okay.
Yeah. So but I think it's good for Haller, and good for some continuity at MSU also, and things they're trying to get done. His understanding of the university, its warts, its strengths, its people, I think really came. And he loves the place. I mean, he wants to be there, and if you're an MSU fan, you got to root for the guy now. And
and he has been around the athletic department since 2010.
Yeah.
So it's not like they just picked him up off the street or something like that.
Absolutely. All right, you want to give Louie a call? We'll talk some Northwestern football, and then we'll talk to Harry in a little bit. As soon as Jason gets Louie, I didn't really have a bridge there, but I will say this also. Skymint has a great tailgating package. We've mentioned this on previous shows. If you go to Skymint on Instagram, you will find there. You can register there, and it's really cool. It comes with a cornhole set, all sorts of fun things. Sort of the ultimate tailgating package from Skymint, and you know how we feel about Skymint. Any Skymint you go to, use the promo code Couch and Rube 20 for 20% off, and they'll just take care of you there. They always do. Are we ready? All right. We got Louie Vaccher. Or Louie Vaccher, sorry. I wanted to get this right. I even asked the pronunciation of his name, which is how it's spelled. He is the publisher and managing editor of WildcatReport.com, the Northwestern Rivals site. These guys cover Northwestern really, really thoroughly, and he runs the show there. Louie, thanks for taking some time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So not only did I've had kind of a hairy day here, but I screwed this up. I apparently told Louie we were doing this interview tomorrow until about 3 minutes ago, and he adjusted on the fly. So we appreciate that. Great. That's where I'm at in organizing things. That's fantastic. Want to get into this game with you and Northwestern and how you see them. I think people who cover Michigan State, we've covered a lot of Northwestern games. We have impressions of the program that are probably usually right, but I don't think we truly understand this team. And what's interesting to me is the Hunter Johnson decision. I mean, everything I've seen of him to this point hasn't been great, but obviously he won the job early enough that they gave it to him. A lot of receivers being replaced. You got a bad injury at running back. Like, what is your sense of? Let's start with the offense and what they're going to be.
Yeah, well, that's a good question because I'm not 100% certain what that offense is going to look like. They've got question marks everywhere. You mentioned Hunter Johnson, and he's a guy that has as much arm talent as anybody in the Big Ten, maybe anybody in the country. He's probably the most talented quarterback Northwestern has ever had. But like you said, in 2019, he was shaky. He looked overwhelmed back there. He had, I think it was 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions, completed less than 50% of his passes. And Fitz eventually pulled a plug on him. And then last year he played behind Peyton Ramsey, who did a great job for the Wildcats last year. And he didn't attempt to pass or run the ball once all year. So a lot of it, we're taking on faith of the coaches. The reason he won the job, like you said, is Fitz has said he was more consistent from the beginning. He showed, a command of the offense and getting rid of the ball on time and quickly, and those are all things he struggled with in the past. So, there's hopeful that he can put that talent to use because this was a 5-star kid coming out of high school who, committed to Clemson and played a year there before Mr. Trevor Lawrence showed up. So, I think there's optimism there. And another big question mark is that, if your quarterback is shaky, maybe you got a lot of weapons around him. And that's not really the case either because they lost their top 4 receivers from a year ago, their top 3 starting wide receivers and the tight end. And then just a couple weeks ago, they lost their bell cow running back, right? So the biggest security blanket for a quarterback is a running game, and they lost the guy that they thought that they could depend on this year really emerged late in the season. Cam Porter as a true freshman last year and had 300 yards over the last 3 weeks. So now he's gone too. So there's all kinds of question marks. They were I would call them a mediocre to average offense to begin with. and they've got a lot of holes to plug. So it's going to be interesting to see what that offense looks like on Friday night.
So I think a lot of the faith at this point is in that, I think programs, once they're established, kind of recruit to a certain level, and the idea that they're recruiting to a certain level that they'll be okay, and that Fitzgerald and his staff have gone through transitions before and they've been okay. That's the faith that's being put in this staff, right?
Yeah, that's certainly the case, but there's a track record that doesn't show that either, right? So the last time they came off a Big Ten West title was 2018. They were replacing a quarterback, and they fell flat on their face. They never had the answer at quarterback, and they struggled through a 3-9 season, and then rebounded last year to win the West again. So, I think this is a big litmus test for the program to see where their recruiting is. They lost a lot of players, a lot of productive players on both sides of the ball. They rank, I think it's 126th out of 127 teams in returning production this year. So can they sustain those kinds of personnel losses and still maintain a certain level and get to a bowl game this season? Or is it, too much to overcome and they dip down again? I think this will really show us. I think they've recruited a lot better in the last few classes, and now we'll see when the rubber meets the road this year.
Defensively, I know they lost some guys, but they're pretty strong in the secondary. That is the strength of this team, you'd say, right?
Yeah, I think they're defensively. It's funny. I don't really worry about them too much. I think the secondary is certainly strong. They lost a first-round draft pick at corner, Greg Newsome, but he missed a lot of last year too. And they've got some good players at corner and safety that have played quite a bit of football for them. And Brandon Joseph, redshirt freshman last year, was a first-team All-America, led the country with 6 interceptions. So I feel good about the secondary. I think they're very strong up front. I think they're very deep, and they've got a lot of experience up front too. There's question marks at linebacker. That's where they lost most of their personnel. But and they got a new defensive coordinator this year as well too. They lost Mike Hankwitz, who was a program mainstay, and they brought in Jim O'Neill from the NFL. So there's a lot of moving parts, but I think defensively they're going to be just fine. That's what this program wins with, really, is defense, and I think they'll be pretty good once again.
So how do you see this game? Like, one of the things that I think about, I think Michigan State has, they brought in, a bevy of transfers, 14 from FBS programs, and a lot of them could be on the field on Friday night. But I do think, and while I think they have pretty decent talent in their top 22, I think there's some depth issues at a few positions. The thing is, though, you don't necessarily see that in week one, right? That's not really the problem in week one. I think there's some issues that may arise in late October and November as people get banged up. But so if Northwestern's the deeper team and the team that's have more depth of talent over time, the question is whether that shows up already. What's your feel for this game and what you think you'll see from Michigan State against Northwestern?
I think we lost Louie.
We lost Louie there.
Hold on.
It's a really good question, though.
It was great. I was waiting for the answer.
Yeah, it was like a Hondo-level question. It was at least 43 seconds. I meant to time it.
All right,
I was just rambling. Okay. It's while he's calling Louie back, a reminder, Front 43 and Cask & Company. If you're looking for a place to watch college football games this weekend, starting Thursday with the Ohio State game, the Michigan State game on Friday, any of the games Saturday, there is no better bar, I don't think, a bar setup than the TV setup at Front 43. Cask & Company, a little more of a restaurant deal with lots of great TVs around, too, if you're looking for a date night and being able to see the games. Same menu, both places, just a fantastic setup at Cask & Company and Front 43. We got Louie back.
We're back.
Yeah. All right, perfect. So, Louie, what I was asking is how do you see this game unfolding? Like, what's your pick here?
Yeah, this is a tough one to call, isn't it? Michigan State has had so much turnover like you're talking about, and so many transfers coming in and going out, and Mel Tucker doesn't release a depth chart and all that kind of stuff, and you got Northwestern with all the new players and question marks that I've been talking about. So this one is a tough game to call. I think, Northwestern, I look at last year's game, and it was so uncharacteristic for the Wildcats all season. It was their only regular season loss, and they turned the ball over, which they rarely did last year. Michigan State ran on them, which very few teams did this last year. And, Rocky Lombardi, of all people, killed them with quarterback runs on third down. It was unbelievable. So it was a very uncharacteristic team. I think Northwestern's got to reverse all that. They got to take care of the ball. They've got to run the football. And I think they really have to establish some kind of identity offensively. They got to find out what works for them. If that's they're going to try to run the football, but if Michigan State stacks the box, they got to, the Hunter Johnson and maybe the short passing game, they got to find out, what they're made of and get a rhythm going, at least early in the game. I think this is going to be a tight, low-scoring game. Those are games that Northwestern has typically won in the past. And I think it's going to be that kind of game, like a 23-20 kind of a ball game in my eyes.
Louie, I look forward. Are you going to be in the press box on Friday night?
Yes, sir. I will be there.
I look forward to seeing you. I'll swing by and say hello. That is Louie Vaccher. Let me get that correctly. Louie Vaccher, publisher and managing editor of WildcatReport.com, the Northwestern rival site, does a fantastic job covering and shepherding the coverage of Northwestern football. Louie, I'll see you Friday night. Thanks so much.
Sounds great. Thanks a lot.
All right, Jason, my takeaway from this?
Yes.
Bet your mother's house on the Spartans.
Really? See, I was kind of swinging back and forth. Louie was selling me on, hammering the Michigan State +3, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, yeah, Michigan State has a lot of question marks as well. But you're saying hammered, huh?
So this is just my experience covering a couple different programs and hearing certain things from coaches. And the new coordinator thing, I know he can be a good coach, but I've seen that go awry because all of a sudden a defense that guys, you might be a good defense later on, or you might have a group that's pretty talented and deep. But if they're overthinking it, and it's a new system, I think, is what they're playing, that can be trouble. Offensively, I think they're going to be abysmal. And unless there's a receiver that really breaks out, and they got a couple dudes, including a transfer, they got some guys maybe we just don't know about, and there's just – and maybe Hunter Johnson has found it. Quarterbacks usually don't find it this late, though. You know what I mean? I'll trust it when I see it. Right. So I'm not saying things couldn't go awry, and the defense for Northwestern – could be better. Michigan State could turn the ball over, and it could be one of those games. But I think if they played this opener 10 times, Michigan State would win 7 or 8 of them.
And cover. Yeah. With +3, yes.
Yeah. And I'm taking the money line. I mean, I just think it's a good is
this the couch jinx where everybody's going to hate you on come Monday? Hot take will be, thanks a lot, Graham, for picking Michigan State.
Apologies. And before we get to Harry here, want to also mention we will do our Friday show on Thursday this week. So because of the game being Friday night, there's just not enough time after that for people to listen to the pod. I'm traveling and everything Friday. We will do our Twitter.
You can play it Friday if you want.
Yeah, you can listen to it whenever you want.
Sure.
So we will, but we'll have I'll put out the Twitter questions tonight. We'll do a show tomorrow. I'm not sure on the exact live time. There's some more stuff with MSU that's going on tomorrow, but if that's not going to be live as we usually are at 1:00, I'll let you know, and I'll let you know too, Jason.
Thank you. Yeah, whatever. I'm the last to know. I just look at Twitter. I stare at it all day.
Do we have Harry with us?
No, I thought we were going to take a quick break. I don't know where you're going.
All right, let's take a really quick break.
Real quick.
And we'll have Harry on Couch in the Roof, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Front 43 and Cask & Company.
Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Skymint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Skymint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Skymint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRoof20 for 20% off your first visit. Skymint Cannabis. You'll love this place. Trust matters, especially when it's your money. Mark and Jay at North Coast Wealth Management work hard to build a relationship of trust by providing thoughtful, objective guidance and placing your interests first. Invest with knowledgeable financial advisors who are on your side. Call today and tell them you're a friend of the show for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. 248-626-2000 and ask for Mark or Jay. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC.
find Couch and the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite podcast addict.
Couch and the Roof, presented by Skyman Premium Cannabis and Front 43 Neighborhood Pub and Cask and Company Kitchen and Bar in just north of Frandor in Lansing. A fantastic menu, great beer selection, great place to watch a game. Am I hearing an echo for a second?
No, you're not.
Okay.
You were, but you're not now.
All right, excellent. Very happy now to have our great friend Harry Gagnon from the Against All Odds podcast and bestbetcorner.com and extrapoints.com with us. Harry, how you doing, brother?
What's up, guys? We got plenty of games to choose from this week. Plenty.
It is exciting. I mean, once we get the NFL and college, it'll be just sensory overload. I'm kind of glad they ease us into it. I think if you did it all in 1 week, it would just be like head exploding. Too much. It's a crescendo. You get the high school games 1 week, get the appetite. The next week, college shows up. You can gamble. If you could gamble on high school, it would have been great. And then,
well, you can. Depends on who you know.
You got to know people.
Right.
You really got to know people, and probably make a lot of money if you really know kids. Because you could get to the kids. You could get kids to throw a game without a question at that
Bishop
level.
Sycamore.
Yeah, that's right. Oh.
Right.
So Harry, one of the things, and we're gonna go through our games, and the mostly Big Ten games and one other game, and see what you think of them, but also give you our parlays. But first,
okay.
I want to get to a sleeper team that you really like, and it's Iowa State. You're giving out to people as plus 250 at the Big 12 championship, and 30-1 on the national championship. And I've heard good things about them. Why do you like this, and why do you think there's value in the plus 250, which is only 2.5 to 1 there on the Big 12 championship?
Yeah, well, I think the Big 12 is down this year. It's basically going to be a battle between Iowa State and Oklahoma. Texas is going to go through some learning curves here, and Sarkisian, his first season with the Longhorns, hasn't fared that well in his last two coaching gigs in college at Washington and USC, so they're going to go through some bumps in the road. But I really do like Iowa State, guys. I mean, their head coach here, Matt Campbell, being sought at by other teams in college football, NFL teams. He might not be there much longer. He's the hottest commodity in coaching, I think. This team is loaded. They beat Oklahoma in the regular season last year, lost to them by 6 in the Big 12 championship. I think that changes this year. Their senior quarterback, Brock Purdy, returns 71 total touchdowns. And you guys all know about Bryce Hall. The running back for Iowa State, had almost 1,600 yards last year. He led the nation. Their top wide receiver, Xavier Hutchinson, is back. And on defense, their leading tackle, Mike Rhodes. He's a fantastic linebacker. He led the team in tackles, and he also had 5 picks. I love this team, and I think they're going to get over the hump this season. I know Spencer Rattler is a great quarterback for Oklahoma. He's the Heisman hopeful right now on odds, but I'm still leaning towards Iowa State to get it done, make that next step. They came close last year. They rolled Oregon in the Fiesta Bowl, and I just love this team this season. They start this week, and it's going to be something else to watch this team. I'm telling you, they're taking down Oklahoma.
Excellent. Well, that's good intel there. Harry, by the way, I had great intel on Monday's show. I told people it was one of my hot takes to take Mac Jones at plus 1,200 to win Rookie of the Year, and then the next day Cam gets cut.
Boy, great call. I hope you jumped on it a little bit.
I did. I'm all over it.
But Graham knew Cam Newton wasn't vaccinated, so that's why.
No, that was obvious. But the thing that I watched was the highlights the night before. You watch like Cam go 2 for 5, and then you watch Mac Jones just take over, and you're like
3 drives of 70+ yards for touchdown.
Wait a second, Belichick isn't going to keep Cam on this team. That's not going to happen.
And guys, if you look at he's lost his arm strength. Cam, you saw that last year. He had 8 total touchdowns passing last year. He did some damage and did some nice work on the ground, but he just doesn't have it anymore. I mean, vaccine or not, I don't like Cam as my quarterback no matter what. I know there's rumors that he's going to possibly wind up in Dallas. Go ahead. You can have him.
Yeah, no, the thing about Cam is he's never been a pinpoint, timing passer guy. Mm-hmm. And so, to me, you've got to be, if you're getting older and you're losing something, that's got to be your thing. He was an athletic guy, a big arm guy, and he's lost some of that. So, yeah, it it doesn't really work. But Mac Jones, even at plus 600, which is where I've seen it now, I think it's a great play for people, by the way, because I know that Trevor Lawrence is higher. They're going to stink in Jacksonville. Like, Mac Jones is probably going to be the quarterback of a playoff team. That's your rookie of the year. Like, I still think it's a good bargain at plus 600.
Yeah. And they went out and they got some nice receivers. They went out and got Jonnu Smith, tight end. They went out and got Kendrick Bourne. They made some moves to help out that offense, which wasn't very good last year. So he's got some weapons now.
And half their defense opted out last year because of COVID and his back. So I mean, they're going to be a much better team. Okay, let's go through our games that we have, and then we will tweet these out as well. And these will be the games to pick your 6 games, and we'll start our standings here in Couch in the Rube.
Great.
So the first one is the Thursday night game. I debated putting this in there just because it's Thursday night, but it's Wednesday. People have time to do this. Ohio State minus 14 at Minnesota. I love this as a teaser if you can tease it down a little bit. I love this as a 2009 Graham Ohio State money line. There are a lot of things I love about this game. I like Ohio State at minus 14. I won't say I love it, but I'm going Ohio State. Jason, where are you?
I got to say I love it.
Okay.
I'm taking Ohio State and giving the 2 touchdowns in Minnesota. What do you got here?
Wow, I'm leaning towards the Golden Gophers here. I think this is the best offensive line that PJ Fleck had in his 5 seasons at Minnesota. You guys know last year I was huge, and I love this guy, the running back for the Golden Gophers, Muhammad Ibrahim. He had seven games of 200 or more yards last season. I know quarterback Tanner Morgan didn't have a great season last year, but in 2019 he had 30 touchdown passes. He returns. And maybe, just maybe here, Ohio State could be looking ahead to their home opener on the 11th against the Oregon Ducks. I'm going to take the points with Minnesota at home.
So Harry's against both of us. Not a good start, Jason. Yep, not a great start. Okay,
right.
Don't feel as good as I did a few minutes ago. Okay, Michigan State plus 3.5 at Northwestern. And, we had a guest on a moment ago who covers Northwestern, and he paints a optimistic picture in some regards, but also a bleak picture when you look at the details of it. I do not think Northwestern is going to be very good offensively. I think Michigan State's problems are mostly going to show up later in the season with depth. I think they've got some playmakers. I think Michigan State's going to win this game outright. I like them on the money line. I'm certainly going to take them with the points. So, my advice always too is to buy the half point with football. You don't want to do that with baseball all the time. You can't do it with baseball, but some sports where they play all the time and you lose the juice. But with football, buy it up to 4. You hate to lose a game by half a point, and at least that's my advice for what it's worth. Jason, where are you on this?
Give me Michigan State getting the 3.5. I'm not quite sold yet, but I'm getting the plus points. So give me 3.5. What do you got here?
Yeah, you guys know my bugaboo last year, actually the last 2 years, has been this Michigan State team. I've been wrong a lot with these guys, and I know one of their 2 wins last season was at home against the Wildcats. But in this spot, I just can't trust either quarterback on either side. Michigan State had two total rushing touchdowns as a team last year. Meanwhile, running back Cam Porter returns for Northwestern. He had 5 alone.
Hold on, Harry. I'm going to stop you, though. Cam Porter's out for the year with an injury.
Oh, he is? Oh, wow.
Tore up his knee like a week ago.
Oh, you know what? I didn't see that. Then you know what? Let's roll with you guys. I'll roll with you guys. I'm going to go off Northwestern. I'm taking Michigan State.
Yeah, I know. They got some bad luck going on offense. Lost their top 4 receivers, and then their running back went down. They lost the starting offensive lineman, too. And I think Hunter Johnson.
You didn't get the Northwestern Wildcat newsletter, Harry?
I didn't.
All right, so Western Michigan, plus 7 at Michigan, a game close to my heart. I covered Western Michigan when I lived in Kalamazoo, by the way, for like 6-7 seasons. I've seen this game a lot. I know Western Michigan's a better program than when I was there in some ways, and people don't think that Michigan is that good. I've also seen that assumption play out incorrectly with lines like this a lot. And you give me Michigan. I like the quarterback situation a lot better than a year ago. I don't trust Western. I'm going Michigan. Where are you, Jason?
I got to say, it's 17, right? You said 7.
I said 17.
Yeah, okay.
17 I meant.
All right. I'm taking Western in the 17. I got to say, I know nothing about Western Michigan, but until Michigan proves me wrong and shows me some offense, I'm taking the 17. Where you at, Harry?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, Jay. I mean, who knows how much longer? How about last year in Ann Arbor? I just don't trust the Wolverines laying this many points. And as far as I know, Broncos quarterback Caleb Ellaby is still playing. He had 18 touchdowns last year, just 2 picks. I think 17 is way too many for a Michigan team that wasn't that great offensively last year.
Yeah, I'm not going to let me say this. I'm not going to bet that game.
Now Harry's gun shy. He's scared to talk about players because you're afraid Graham's going to interrupt and go, Harry. Yeah, he's out for the year.
Yeah, there's just one dude in Northwestern. The problem with Northwestern is, other than Louie, who we talked to today, they're like nobody covers them. Like, it is actually hard to find information on these guys. It's like a Division II program in Podunk, Indiana or something. Next game, Penn State. I mean, talk about great week, opening week. Like, you're going through it. It's like great Big Ten game after great Big Ten game. Penn State plus 5.5 at Wisconsin. This one's really hard for me because I think Penn State's going to be much improved. I think, Wisconsin's got a lot of guys back, should be really good. They're at home. And I am leaning Wisconsin here. This is, to me, is a complete stay away, though. Where are you, Jason?
Absolute stay away, but give me the plus side. Give me Penn State plus 5.5. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I'm going to take the points here, too. Penn State's 4-0 straight up in the last 4 versus the Badgers. Senior quarterback Sean Clifford is a reliable, solid quarterback. He's 47 touchdowns last 2 seasons combined. He's got almost 4,500 yards. And their freshman wide receiver last year, Jahan Dotson, looks fantastic. He's going to be a star. He led the team in receiving last year and had 8 receiving touchdowns. Give me the points here, too. It's too many, I think.
Yeah, boy, I'd struggle with that. I'm almost flipping. I'm gonna stay Wisconsin just because that's what I said, and I don't feel good about it. I would not urge anybody to take this game. I feel better about Indiana plus 3.5 at Iowa, and Iowa's a good team, and I think they're a good program that recruits to a certain level, and they're at home. And I do question some of Indiana's depth and whether they're for real. This is a total disrespect though for who Indiana was at their best a year ago, and if the quarterback is healthy. And Michael Penix, and I have questions whether he'll remain healthy, but he's healthy right now. You give me Indiana with points just about any. I'm taking Indiana right here. Jason, where are you?
I think I got to take Iowa just because they're at home, and I'm not sure what Indiana is all about. Yeah, again, another kind of stay away game, a flip flop game. But who do you got here?
Yeah, I think it's. I think you're going to get in that 3.5. That extra hook could be handy with the Hoosiers. I mean, before getting injured last year, like you mentioned, Graham. Penix Jr. was fantastic, had 3 straight games of 320 or more passing yards. He had that monster game against Ohio State with 5 touchdowns, 491 yards passing. And Iowa, just a little suspect in their passing game, I think. The leading receiver, their top 2 wide receivers, touchdown-wise, are not on the team anymore this year. They're playing on Sundays now. I think it's maybe just a little bit too much Michael Penix in this game, and I like the points here.
Yeah, no, that's another one that I kind of like on the money line. I mean, I wouldn't mind the points, so it's not like Michigan State where I really like the money line. And by the way, let me say this before. I do not bet heavy on week 1 because when you do, you get crushed. Like week 1 is the week you'll learn a lot, and if you're too excited going into week 1, Harry, I don't know how you feel about this, but my biggest losses in college football are generally in week 1 when I get overexcited.
Well, you know what? I've always said betting the NFL in week 1 is always the toughest, but this college is a little different. I know last year was crazy with the situation of teams trying to scramble and find games and with games being canceled and postponed and everything, but this is a little bit different too because so many times over the past years in college, all these teams, everybody usually opens up with a cream puff and you're going to lay the big points. There are some, like you just mentioned, there are some fantastic matchups this week and a lot of teams going head-to-head that are in the top 20 against each other. I mean, look, the Clemson-Georgia game, I can't wait for that game.
Yeah.
There's other games like you just mentioned. Big Ten's got head-to-head games that are really good first week. So it's a little different because week 1, like you just said, we don't exactly know what we're going to get out of. I said, I don't know what we're going to get out of Iowa's offense. You guys said, don't know what you're going to get from Northwestern's offense. It's going to be very interesting this week.
So the last game we're going to play this week is Alabama minus 19.5 at Miami. And as a general rule, I don't bet against Alabama in openers. Like it's just they blow people out. And even if Miami's a decent team, Alabama has been at another level. Now they're replacing some dudes. I mean, like 3 guys went in the top 15 of the draft. One who's going to be the rookie of the year in the NFL. But Miami, every time they're supposed to be for real, they're not. Now maybe Derek King's that good and he's healthy again and it works. I think defensively Alabama's going to be better than they were last year. I'm not betting against Alabama under 3 touchdowns. Give me Alabama. And I love it teasing it down a little bit. Give me Alabama. Jason, where are you at?
I don't know, neutral venue. Derek King, I kind of like him. I'm going to take the 20. I have it at 20 on BetMGM, so I'm going to take the Hurricanes and 20 points. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Canes too. Number 14 team in the country coming into the season. Bryce Young is very talented for Alabama, obviously, but unproven too. 22 total snaps. Let's not forget Waddle, Smith, Najee Harris, all playing on Sunday, not with Alabama anymore. Derek King, I know he's coming back from injury, but he is very talented. Let's not forget also he had 50 touchdowns a couple of years ago when he was at Houston. The running back Cameron Harris returned. He had 10 rushing touchdowns last year. I know that Alabama's playing in their home away from home in Atlanta. They usually roll there, but boy, geez, this is a chunk of points here, and I'm going to lean towards Miami here. I know they played Clemson last year and got rolled. I think they learned a little bit from playing a big name team. I think they can hang here and hang within the 19.5.
Well, we're going against each other on a lot here, and that makes me a little nervous. But it is the opening week, and it is hard to read this stuff. That would be
small this week. We'll fire away next week.
Yeah, that would be my advice for people.
Because we'll know so much more next week.
Yeah, yeah. Let me tell you, the second week I've gotten most wrong is week 2,
where we overreacted on Michigan. Who else last year?
Oh goodness, yeah.
Why don't we just jump on Willie Peralta tonight at plus 160 for the Tigers? He's been pretty good at home. He's only given up like 4 earned runs in 20 innings at home. Why don't we just take the plus 160?
Yeah.
With the Tigers?
Is he going to pitch a complete game?
No.
No.
Bullpen, Funkhauser.
Yeah, but they got some guys who might be ready tonight. I jumped on this before the series. I took the A's to win the series at minus 170 just to win the series, and I thought that was a decent play. And
well, speaking of Tigers, might as well play the song for you.
It is time for the Detroit Tigers Gambling Update with Gramanito Couch and Jason Nick.
And Harry Gagnon.
I love it.
all right, this is we're going to dig into our can't miss parlays, and I did not hit on soccer last week. I still feel hot, like a couple bad luck things. Like I feel like I'm reading it right, but soccer unfortunately has an international break. I don't feel comfortable. Like I don't read there are probably some international soccer games that I will read up on and I will tweet those out if I do. Right now, I don't have the feeling. So, Jason, you want to give your can't miss parlay first, and then I'll give mine.
It's really a shame that soccer's taking a break. First, Harry, I'm going Ohio State minus 14. I know it's tomorrow, but people listen to this podcast. I'm just really confident in that pick. Miami, Florida, we just talked about them. In Alabama, I have it here, Harry, at 20. Now, these are all
okay.
The bets are minus 110. So, Wyoming, our friend Cody Tucker at War Memorial, Montana State coming in minus 17.5 for Wyoming for a total of plus 595.
Okay.
For my parlay.
That's really good.
And by the way, guys, Graham, before you give me, who says soccer's going away? Right now, for a World Cup qualifying, I got Israel up 1-0 over Faroe Islands.
See, that's what I love about you, Harry. You are beautiful.
It's not just a title; it's a lifestyle. Degenerate.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely beautiful. You know, my issue with giving out baseball is often people don't see it. Although I will tweet it out. If I love Michigan State and I love it on the money line, so like to me. I know that can be greedy and you can regret that later on. But in a parlay, if you throw something that's plus 130, it can be it's a nice deal. If it hits. I like Indiana as well at plus 3.5. I'm all about that. And I've gone back. I felt better about Bama before you guys said it. I don't feel as good about Alabama as I did recently. You know what? I think LSU is going to be much improved. Give me LSU at UCLA minus 3. I think there's a difference in those two teams. I think Hawaii was awful, and that's why USA pummeled them. That's just, my and I would, again, this is buying half a point on the Indiana game up to 4, and that is, that pays 100 pays 723 plus 723.
Well, no, we got Indiana plus 3. What did you say? Indiana plus
4.
Plus 4.
Michigan
LSU minus 3.
LSU minus 3 and Michigan State on the money line.
on Michigan State money line. Woo. Okay, let's see here. On Jason's parlay, I like Miami. I haven't looked too deep into the Mountain West yet, but I'll buy that Wyoming minus 17.5. But boy, I really like Fleck to not get blown out in this game on national television. And Graham, I can't argue with Indiana, especially pushing it up to 4. Coach O's, maybe he had something special going on with LSU on Against All Odds podcast yesterday. Parlay Kid really loves LSU this season, so that's interesting. And Michigan State, don't know, a lot of offense. Don't know if there's going to be a lot of offense in this Michigan State Northwestern game. Taking them on the money line, very interesting. I got to lean here. I got to lean towards Graham here this week because I just don't think Ohio State's going to get there and cover with a new quarterback.
All right.
Harry, you're a beautiful man.
Hey, before we let Harry go, I want to ask both of you guys, the U.S. Open tennis, I've been watching it the past couple nights. Harry, any picks on the U.S. Open before we let you go?
Ooh, I do like Rublev, Andre Rublev. Because look, Joker lost a set yesterday, so he's not indestructible. He doesn't always win. I know he's going for the Grand Slam, and everyone's looking towards that way. But look out for Andre Rublev. You can get him at about 24-1 still. The Russian, he's been pretty good this season, so that's a guy I'm looking at too. And Sabalenka for the women. She's the number 2 seed. I think she might be able to take down Barty. Barty yesterday won, but won 7-6 in the second set. Look out for Sabalenka, who I had during Wimbledon. She was close, didn't get there. Maybe she gets there for the U.S. Open.
That's beautiful information. That's great intel.
Thanks, Harry.
Harry, enjoy the soccer this weekend, the international matches. I know you have your eyes peeled, and we appreciate it. Looking forward to going to the NFL games with you next week. Should be a lot of fun.
Can't wait, guys. Let's hit something this week. Thanks, guys.
That's the great Harry Gagnon.
Live in Vail.
That was fun stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that felt good. That's good for the soul. I'll tweet out our can't miss parlays separately from our picks that you got to reply to with your winners and losers, and we'll get our standings going and your picks against the spread. We appreciate Melting Moments dropping by the ice cream cookie sandwiches, which I'm about to devour momentarily. Thanks to SkyMint. Go to skymint.com. Use the Couch in the Rube promo code, CouchAndRube20. Make SkyMint part of your week, your day, your life. And thanks to Front 43 and Cask & Company. Great place to watch games this weekend. If you've never been, I'm telling you, you'll absolutely enjoy the place. Great patio if you prefer to be outdoors. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We're going to do our Friday show Thursday. Look for the email tonight on Twitter questions. Good show, man.
Yeah, man.
Couch in the Rube.